Yes, good evening, everyone. All right. So, all set for test. And see, the number has drastically decreased. Okay. See, even if we'll be designing it in such a way that in case if anyone has not, say, if anyone is not opting for the test at this point of time, still, if they watch this video, right, it would be a sort of test only. Great. So we just wait for a minute or so and then we'll start. As promised, right? There would be 40 questions. Okay. So for this test, and as we always say, this would be like an honest test, right? Honest test. There would be test is easy or tough. It's very easy, right? It is absolutely easy. There would be 40 questions. And truly speaking, almost say 15 questions. So they are very easy. Actually, they are very easy. There'll be few questions where you have to think a bit because there are no options. I have not given any options in that. That is where you have to actually write the answer. You have to write that whatever is asked. And in some cases, right, there would be say 5 to 7 such question. They will be of that style so that I really want to give you the practice of logical reasoning. Logical reasoning. This is extremely vital. So today what would happen that out of 40 questions, there were 5 to 7 questions which will be with such logical reasoning. Rest of the question, they'll be just like practice, right? But as we'll be progressing, say for example this week, but the next week, that is next Saturday when we'll take the exam, we'll try to make this exam bit more tough, right? I know you all are very honest. That's what I really like. Attempting time, I'm keeping it about 45 seconds and only for 3 or 4 questions, I'll be extending it to about a minute because you have to really think. So even 1 minute and we don't mind, means if you feel like that, we can even make it 90 seconds, right? So things are very flexible. But then once the test is done, after that we'll solve this test. And we'll solve it in such a way we won't be solving it like okay, this is question number say 14 and its answer is say B. No, not like that. We'll evaluate everything that why exactly it is this the answer, right? So that way we'll cultivate a habit that even if some tricky question comes, then how to decipher it, right? All right. So wish you all a very best. Give your best shot and all set, right? So I hope you are ready with say all the numbers all the way from 1 to 40, right? And say I also just all right, clock is in front of me. All set, right? Okay. Yeah. Here you reasoning etc. all will be discussed after the exam. Okay. All right. So let's start. Wish you all the best and give your best shot. Right. Try to recollect in case if you forget anything. Try to recollect whatever we have learned and you'll definitely get the answer. Okay. Very nice. Let's start. Here is the first question coming up. All right, all right. No, you have to just write in your book. You don't have to write anything in chat, right? Please don't write anything in chat. No, you have to just write in your book 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 40, right? So let's say if this is my book and if I say this is question number one, so whatever I feel like A, B, C, or D, right? So I'll just write it like say A if that is my answer, or B, or C, or D, and that's it, right? And then we'll solve it. At that point, you have to just check it whether you were right or you were wrong, right? So that's why it is like an honest test. Okay, great. So here it is. The first question which has come up is the sectional plane that divides the body into anterior and posterior portion, or anterior and posterior half. So which plane are we talking about? Right? Your time starts now, though the question was displayed, but no worries. Your time starts now. We are keeping 45 seconds. Yeah, brother, I was thinking of that to turn the chat off, but why I'm keeping it on? Because say few people they are joining bit late. So I'll keep it on for some time and then we'll turn it off. But those who are appearing for exam and those who have started this exam now, don't type anything, right? Okay. I think we can move on to the next question. And all the question numbers, they are handwritten. Okay. All right. Let's move on to, yeah. No need to write done and don't write answer over here. That's what I'm telling. Shweta, don't write answer over here. Don't write answer over here. You don't have to write answer over here. Otherwise, there will be more than 200 answers over here. Please, again, don't write answers over here. I was repeating this thing again and again, right? You have to just write it in your own book. Whether you write the, say, answer or you write ABCD, anything. Okay? Chalo. So please take care. No more answers over here. All right. Moving on to the next question. All right. Just 2 seconds so that it becomes easy for me to count. Okay. All right. Next question. Question number 2. At day 3 after fertilization, the zygote has reached a 16 cell stage. What's the name of it? What's the name of it? You have to just write what's the name of it. No need to write complete exactly at 45 seconds, things would change. How many bones are there in the average person's body? Question number 3. 300, 306, 206, or 226? Initially, questions would be a bit easy. Gradually, I'll keep on adding more interesting questions. Okay. I'm just cutting off the time for this because this is very easy question. Moving on to the next question, question number 4. Which is the longest bone in the human body? Guys, now don't type, please. Now don't type. Keep the chat completely silent. Please don't type. Don't type. Even if you have forgot anything, please don't type. This is exam now. Take it seriously. Okay? There should be absolute silence in the form of chat also. Thank you. Don't type, please. Who said I have to turn the chat off? It's like I feel bad. Prince, why do you do this? When it is said, I have to turn it off. This is bad. You don't have to write answer over here. I've turned the chat off because there was no option. It's bad. I really don't like it. Anyway, moving on to the question number 5. Yeah. Which of the following is not a fundamental plane? Which of the following is not not a fundamental plane? Coronal, transverse, vertical, or mid-sagittal, which is not a fundamental plane. Still, you have got 20 seconds. And those who have joined just now, because I can see few increase in numbers, don't worry. This is the number, right? You can start with number 5. So don't worry at all. It is completely fine. You can start with number 5 and then proceed. Initial questions, they were a bit easy. Good things, they are now about to come. All right, moving on to the next question. Here it is. Primary center of ossification appears in epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis, or epiphyseal plate. Primary center of ossification appears in. Still, you have got 10 seconds. All right. Moving on to the next question. What is the skeletal system? Read all options carefully. Some of the questions would be like what we really discussed during our sessions, and those sentences they have been placed. So is it all the bones in the body, all the muscles and tendon, all the body organ, both soft and hard tissues, or all the bones in the body and the tissues that connect them? Whatever you feel like, take it. And moving on to the question number 8. The secondary center of ossification appears in epiphysis, metaphysis, diaphysis, or epiphyseal plate. Remember, this time it is secondary center. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 9. Haversian canal system is seen in cancellous, trabecular, cortical, or spongy bone. In which type of bone do you see Haversian canal system? And the questions would be a bit easy. I might go a bit fast. Moving on to the next question. Question number 10 coming up. All the following statements are true regarding elastic cartilage except that, and then we have got 4 things. Remember, what we have been asked in this case is all the following statements are true, right? But one of the statement is not true. So you have to figure out which statement is not true. All the statements are correct except one. Figure out which one is not correct. This type of questions, they will definitely be appearing into the competitive exam because it forces you to apply your logic, right? That's why I'll be giving extra 15 seconds. You have to read all the sentences and then you have to go for whether it is applicable or not. Giving 10 more seconds. Sorry. All right. Moving on to the question number 11. Here it is. All of the following statements are true about hyaline cartilage, except again in this one of the statement is not true. So it means three statements they are true, one is not. Figure out which one. Hyaline cartilage. Okay. 5 more seconds and we move to question number 12. Bone specific alkaline phosphatase, right? Bone specific alkaline phosphatase is secreted by osteocytes, osteoblasts, osteoclasts, or all of the above. Bone specific alkaline phosphatase. Do remember that there are few diseases associated with it, right? That's what we'll discuss later. Okay, moving on to question number 13. In adults, the red bone marrow, right? The red bone marrow is found in all of the following sites except it is ribs, sternum, medullary cavity of long bones, or iliac crest. Which one is right? Okay. Question number 14. Fabella, right? Fabella is the sesamoid bone. I'm sorry, spelling got jumbled. It is sesamoid bone. Sesamoid bone associated with which joint? It is associated with elbow, wrist, knee, or ankle. Fabella. Remember, where was it? In whose tendon was it? Okay. So you have to just write down the joint. Okay. Question number 15. I'll give 1 full minute for this because here you have to name 4 types of epiphysis. We discussed all those 4 types, right, in the form of brain mapping. So, one, two, three, four. 4 different types of epiphysis. You have to just name them. 1, 2, 3, 4. For such questions, we'll be keeping it all or none. All or none means if you answer all 4 correct, then and then the question would be considered as correct. Even if you answer 3 and you miss fourth, so no, sorry, we won't be considering it, right? But well, it is an honest test, so and you all are honest. So do remember, right? I don't mind giving extra 15 seconds, but try to write all those 4 types of epiphysis. 45 seconds. Still, we have half a minute. Okay. All right. Moving to question number 16. Select the correct statement. Select the correct statement. Four statements, and out of which only one is correct. Pretty easy, but this is just like a now warm up. Okay. You should have got the answer quickly, very fast in this question. Okay. Moving on to question number 17. On day 8, the trophoblast differentiates into two things. One is inner layer, second is outer layer. So what are they called? And yeah, I was a bit liberal telling that there is a hint. Partial answer is already given. Partial answer. Trophoblast differentiates into A and B. A is inner, B is outer. 10 seconds to go. Okay. On to the question number 18. Which type of cartilage is characterized by the presence of thick bundles of collagen fibers? Now, from here, the level would start changing, right? So, you will find the questions where you have to think a bit. So, which type of cartilage is characterized by the presence of thick bundles of collagen fibers histologically? Hyaline, elastic, fibrocartilage, or you feel that it is present in all of them? Okay. That was question number 18. We move on to question number 19. Which of the following is true about red bone marrow? Right? Red bone marrow. Is it vascular and appear red in color? Or appearance of red color is due to presence of RBCs or red blood cells? Consist of network of fine reticular fibers containing blood forming cells? Or all of the above? Out of four statements, which of them is true? 10 seconds to go. Question number 20. Regarding anatomical position, which of the following statement is not correct? Not correct. I know this question is so easy, right? But yes, there would be such pattern coming up. Sometimes very difficult and suddenly they'll be very easy. So that your brain keeps on switching between various topics and the difficulty levels. Moving on to question number 21. Identify the most correct pair. I'll give 1 full minute for this. Right? Identify the most correct pair. Sympathomimetic and anti-adrenergic, parasympathomimetic, anti-adrenergic, sympatholytic and anti-adrenergic, or it is parasympatholytic anti-adrenergic. Use your logic. You got 1 full minute for this. Just 30 seconds have passed. They got still 30 more seconds. A very fundamental thing. Okay. I hope you have answered it correctly. Moving to question number 22. Which type of cartilage forms the epiglottis? Forms the epiglottis. In case of any confusion, think about what's the function of epiglottis and you'll get the answer. Okay, 5 more seconds to go. Moving to question number 23. Pubic symphysis is an example of synarthrosis, amphiarthrosis, diarthrosis, or syndesmosis. Think about that the options which has been given to you, they are with some purpose, right? If you have studied bit well, so then there is no problem. You will be able to answer it within 5 seconds. Okay. Question number 24. Which of the following is false about cartilage? Right? What is false about cartilage? And we talked about this point quite in detail. Cartilage lacks active blood flow. When damaged, pain can be moderate to intense. Healing power of cartilage is very poor, and cartilage can calcify. So, what we mean to say is that out of these 4 statements, 3 are incorrect. I mean, 3 are correct, 1 is incorrect. Right? So, you have to figure out which of the following is false. 3 statements are right, 1 is wrong. Okay, you must have answered it correctly. On to question number 25. You are already halfway through, more than halfway through. Question number 25. Knee joint is which type of joint? Synarthrosis, symphysis, diarthrosis, or amphiarthrosis? Which type of joint is knee joint? All right. Next question, question number 26. Which of the following statement is not correct? The game of Schwann cell, oligodendrocytes, and then there is CNS, PNS, ENS, everything, right? So which of the following statement is not correct? I'll give you 1 full minute for this because you have to think for every statement. Don't worry, take your time. You have to find out which is not correct. Okay. Moving on to the question number 27. What makes bones so strong? Is it silica, cartilage, blood and marrow, or calcium and phosphorus? As it is quite an easy question, we are moving to question number 28. Which of the following statement is incorrect regarding hyaline cartilage? So again, only one statement is incorrect. Three statements, they are right. Three statements, they are right. One is incorrect. And this is about hyaline cartilage. All right. Question number 29. Which of the following is not an example of white fibrocartilage? Not an example. So think of that fibrocartilage is doing what? Try to eliminate the odd one. Ten more seconds. And we move to question number 30. Atlantoaxial joint is a joint with one axis, two axis, three axis, or four axis. Right? Fourth axis, right? That's why I wrote, see how creative am I, right? So it is like x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and then one more axis. It's something which is used in space. Atlantoaxial joint. Okay. Question number 31. What kind of joint is syndesmosis? What kind of joint is syndesmosis? What kind of joint is syndesmosis? 10 more seconds. Okay. Question number 32. Almost 75% is up. Last 10 questions. In fact, now the last 9. What is true about myenteric plexus? What is true about myenteric plexus? Fifteen more seconds. Okay. Question number 33. When the blastocele forms in the embryo around day 4, then the embryo is called as, what's the name given to that? When the blastocele forms. That's the key word. I know you must have answered by now, right? But still, 10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Question number 34. Which is the most abundant glial cell? Right? No options. Just write the name. Name of that glial cell which is most abundant, which is available maximum. Most abundant glial cell. All right. Question number 35. At the time of blastocyst formation, inner cell mass of the morula is now called the, what do we call? At the time of blastocyst formation, right? So after that differentiation, inner cell mass of the morula is now called the, and that there is a hint also that his future is very bright. Okay. Question number 36. Very easy question, right? You have to just name that structure. You have to just identify this structure, what it is. I know you'll be able to answer it within half a minute, not even half a minute, 5 seconds. Okay. Question number 37. Which of the following statement is correct? So that means three statements are incorrect and one is correct. Watch carefully. I'll give you 1 full minute for this because every statement has to be read and analyzed. Okay, so 1 full minute. Such type of questions, they'll keep on increasing as we'll proceed with future exams. So that as you'll keep on appearing in these exams, you'll automatically be tougher and tougher. When we'll solve these answers, these questions, and we'll come up with the answers, you'll find yes, it was easy. But right now, you give your best shot. 10 more seconds to go. And we move on to the question number 38. All right. Which of the following statement is true? Again, I think 45 seconds is enough. Mhm. All right. On to the penultimate question. Identify the most correct pair. We'll give you 1 minute for this. Identify the most correct pair. Sympathomimetic is cholinergic. Parasympathomimetic is cholinergic. Sympatholytic is cholinergic. Or parasympatholytic is cholinergic. Okay. 10 more seconds and we are on to the last and final question. So during the third week of human development, the cephalic or the head end or the part of the primitive streak is called what? Is called what? Primitive groove, primitive pit, primitive node, or is it primitive notch? Okay, turning the chat on now. All right, so now chat is on, but don't don't write any of the answers. Okay, so let's say this is time up, right? And we now start solving all these questions. Okay, you don't have to send answer at any of the place. We'll now be solving all these questions, right? And then you can send a mail to me with with your with your results, right? Now see, if you have found it easy, that's very nice. That means you have studied quite properly. And similarly, it was like a first exam, right? So deliberately I tried to make it bit of combination. Means 3 4 questions were like where you had to say put some logic. In some of the questions, so they were like absolutely straightforward, right? See, it is like it is for everyone, right? So this is just the beginning, and as we'll proceed, right, we'll be making it more and more tough. So let's start with this. The sectional plane that divides the body into anterior and posterior portion, and we said that, say here the keyword is, right? It is that coron, right? That crown, because we said it is the coronal plane, right? So that's the thing. Coronal plane, it divides the body into the posterior half and the anterior half. Sagittal or mid sagittal plane was like this, right? So that's sagittal, and when the body is like this, so here is the transverse plane. Oblique plane, obviously that is not any of the standard one. Anterior and posterior. Answer, you wrote the answer B? Okay. All right. Let's move on to the second one. This is, that is at day 3 after fertilization, the zygote has reached the 16 cell stage, right? So that's name is morula, right? A very simple question, right? Okay. Moving on to the third one. This is also quite easy. Right? How many bones are there in an average person's body? That is 206, 300 at the time of birth. Right? Then they start fusing, and the final tally comes to 206. Right? This is, right, what is the longest bone in the human body? Right? Yeah. What is longest bone? No doubt about it. It is femur. Right? Tibia, fibula, they are also long, but not as long as femur. And vertebral column is not a single bone, right? It is a combination of so many bones. That's right. That's right. Next question. Which of the following is not a fundamental plane, right? So fundamental plane, there are just three. That is coronal, sagittal, and the transverse. Sagittal, which is also called as the mid-sagittal, right? Mid-sagittal. So, but there is no place for vertical, so that's the odd man out. So it is not a fundamental plane. That's right. Let's go to the next one. Primary center of ossification, right? Primary center of ossification. And we said that, yes, that was the long bone, right? Over here, what develops, that is the primary center. And this is what is called as the diaphysis, correct? Diaphysis. This diaphysis, it keeps on growing, right? The end of the diaphysis, that is when the diaphysis ends, so that end is indicated as metaphysis, right? And at metaphysis, there is a plate. So metaphysis is something which is sitting in middle. So that's why M for middle, something which is sitting in middle between the epiphysis and the diaphysis. And the plate which is over there, that is the epiphyseal plate. Excellent. Right? So this one is the primary ossification center. Right? It is one in number. Before birth it appears. Right? All those, they were the characteristic of it. All right. Question number 7. What is the skeletal system? No doubt about it, because it is not only that it is comprising of bones, but all the tissues which are connecting it. So that's what we call about the skeletal system. That's why in skeletal system, bone, ligament, tendons, right? All those things, they are part of skeletal system. As we already talked about, say, primary, so the secondary center of ossification, right? That's the secondary center of ossification, right? It is none other but epiphysis, right? And I hope you must have answered it correctly. Okay, all on to the question number 9. Now this question, right? This question is, so when I was creating, I was laughing, right? Because Haversian canal system is seen in, right, cancellous bone, trabecular bone, cortical bone, and spongy bone. In fact, when we say cancellous or trabecular or spongy, they are name of the same one, right? They all mean same, correct? They all mean same. And Haversian canal system is seen in cortical bone, right? Got it now, right? Otherwise, cancellous or the trabecular or the spongy, they all are meaning the same. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is, all of the following statements are true regarding elastic cartilage except, right? Now over here you have to use your logic. Say elastic cartilage, right? Elastic cartilage is for elasticity, right? So first thing first, whenever such questions are to be answered, right, that it is for the elasticity and form, right? What to give the shape, to give the form. What fibrocartilage is doing, right? Fibrocartilage is like it has got fibrous tissue and the cartilaginous, so it is for wear and tear, right? It is for wear and tear, right? It is to give the toughness, right? And hyaline, it is to give smooth surface, right? So that's why hyaline was into the joint, so it was behaving like it was giving like a runway, right? To give the smooth surface, right? So I'll just write smooth surface. And now with this logic, say it has abundant elastic fibers in its matrix, right? Okay, yes, because that's why it was requiring that special stain, Warhoff stain, so that it could stain dark, right? So this is correct statement. It has yellowish appearance. It is found in external auditory canal, okay? But this, it is adapted to withstand tension and compression? No way, no way, right? Because tension and compression, they are the characteristic of fibrocartilage. So that's why this statement is not true, and that would be the answer, right? Got it? Moving on to the next one. Answer, see so many right? D, B, yeah, B is correct. D cannot be because external auditory canal, right? No. Okay, next one. All of the following statements are true about hyaline cartilage, right? Now, as we just said, that hyaline cartilage, except what? This was just a sitter, right? Absolutely easy. Hyaline, and the day we started learning hyaline, the first statement was that that why not D? Because say over here, let's go back, right? The external auditory canal, right? External auditory canal. We have not talked about the pinna, right? It is the pinna which is elastic, right? So that's why this was just a tricky thing, tricky question. Okay. All of the statements that were hyaline cartilage except, right? As we said that, say it is not abundant in human body. No, hyaline cartilage, as we said, it is abundant in human body, right? It is the cartilage which is found maximum. And if you remember, I said that whenever the question is asked, just most of the cases, hyaline will be a good shot. So that's why over here we'll go for this. It is not, it is abundant, right? So that's why that question is that is not right. Bone specific alkaline phosphatase is secreted by whom? And we said that whenever sites, they are for maintenance, right? They are for maintenance. Blasts, they are for formation. And clasts, they are for destruction. And in Paget's disease, whenever there is abnormal formation, that is when the osteoblastic activity is increasing. So this is what would be sitting, and that's what we said, that bone-specific alkaline phosphatase, right? This BAP is sitting, and that is what it will rise. So that's right. It is like osteoblast formation, right? It is the osteoblast. Yeah, those who have answered B, it is correct, right? All right, moving on to the next one, the question number 13. In adults, the red bone marrow, right? It is found in all of the following sites except, well, ribs, sternum, iliac crest, other, but in medullary cavity of the long bones, it stops because it is replaced by yellow bone marrow, right? Only in cases of emergency, that is in case of hypoxia or excessive bleeding, right? These yellow bone marrow, they will shift to red bone marrow, right? But only in case of emergency. So that's why the answer would be, say, in this case, medullary cavity. Just say sternum, that is the site for bone marrow aspiration or bone marrow biopsy, correct? That is the site, but that is only for adults, right? What about the kids? What about the children? It would be iliac crest. You don't want to go for sternum because sternum is thin and the needle, that wide bore needle, can easily penetrate and can touch the heart, right? So this would be the site for children, right? That would be the site for children, right? Again, bone marrow, say biopsy or aspiration. Okay. Question number 14. Fabella, right? Fabella is a sesamoid bone. Sesamoid means it is like a seed. It is like a seed, right? This is present in which, right? Now over here, patella is the biggest one, but patella is in the center and this is behind, right? So it is in the back of the knee joint, right? Back of knee joint, and classically its location would be the lateral head, right? Lateral head of gastrocnemius, right? Gastrocnemius. So that's the location where we get fabula. So that's why knee joint, C. That's right. That's right. Okay. Moving to next one. Just name 4 types of epiphysis, right? Though this was a sitter question, right? Straight away you just write the answers. But still, at times, why I asked is for just one word, right? I was knowing that this pressure, yes, you will be knowing about it, right? That is pressure epiphysis. Pressure epiphysis, it occurs in when there is transmission of body weight, right? Transmission of body weight. So that's why transmission of body weight is on all those heads, right? That is head of femur, right? Head of femur. So definitely That is easy. Pressure. Second one was traction. When someone is pulling, that is because of the pull of muscle, right? Because of pull of muscles. And when the pull of muscle is maximum at those trochanters and tubercles, right? So in case of if we are dealing with femur, so then it is like greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter of femur. That's the point where there will be maximum pull. The third one was atavistic. Yes, you wrote it right, right? That is atavistic. And what atavistic was that some bones they are independent in those lower mammals, but in humans, right? These bones they go near to the nearest bigger one so that they can get the nutrition from it, right? So that is something which we see, and the example is, I think you must be knowing it. You must be knowing it. Example of atavistic. I have already started writing, but just I'm just watching the chat. If anyone is writing about the example of atavistic. Yeah, next fourth one is aberrant. Yes, that's okay. Right, fourth one is aberrant, and as such, it finishes your answer. But I was just watching for if you can write the example of atavistic epiphysis. Well, that's right. That's right, Janvi. It is the coracoid process, right? It is the coracoid process and the scapula, right? And finally, the aberrant that normally say it is the base, and instead of that, if the epiphysis is occurring at another end, so it is aberrant means it is unusual. So yes, this is the answer: pressure, traction, atavistic, and the aberrant. That's right. That's right. The next question, question number 16, right? Pretty easy question. Pretty easy, right? So in the supine position, Royal, in the supine position, person lies on the back and face directed upwards, right? So this is good because face is directed left or right, so they are the outright wrong, right? And so that's everything goes on supine, person lies on the back. This is good, right? Okay, right. The next one is where you have to, on day, the trophoblast differentiates into, right? That trophoblast, it differentiates into cytotrophoblast, right? Cytotrophoblast and the sensational syncytiotrophoblast. Syncytiotrophoblast, right? And the major difference was that this is single nucleated, while syncytiotrophoblast was multinucleated. Right? Multinucleated. So that's why I said that partial answer is already given. That trophoblast part though is already given. Right? Okay. Let's move to the question number 18. What type of cartilage is characterized by presence of thick bundles of collagen fibers, right? Thick bundles. So this was the thing, thick bundles. That thick bundle of collagen fibers, that is what is present in fibrocartilage, right? Because it is combination of both, right? So this is fibrocartilage. All right. On to the question number 19. Yes, this question was put just for that you remember all the characteristics of red bone marrow, right? So it is vascular, it appears red in color, right? Then appearance of red color is due to presence of RBCs, and it consists of network of fine reticular fibers, and they are containing red those blood forming cells. So it is all of the above, right? Yeah, all of the above. Great. Okay, moving on to question number 20, right? This question number 20, right? That was like a fun question, right? Regarding anatomical position, which of the following statement is not correct? Well, body is erect, eyes are directed forward, upper limb hang by the side, palm facing anteriorly, lower limb and feet are parallel and toes are directed forward. And then this is like, what if the body is into fetal position, right? If actually body is in fetal position, how the anatomical position will look like? So just it was like a fun question, right? The body is in fetal position. That's right. Okay. On to question number 21. Yeah, this says identify the most correct pair. Identify the most correct pair, right? And I would be very happy if you have answered this correctly. As such, it is quite easy because when we say sympathetic, right? Sympathetic is when there is stress. Whenever there is stress, so that means there is adrenaline secretion. It means they are adrenergic. Adrenergic, right? Adrenergic. Yes, yes. So sympathetic is adrenergic. So when we say mimetic, mimetic means it will mimic like, it will behave as it is if it is sympathetic. So mimetic is supporting and lytic is working against it, right? So when it is lytic, so it becomes anti-adrenergic that way, right? So our question is anti-adrenergic, right? Anti-adrenergic. So it means it is anti-adrenergic. So it has to be sympatholytic, right? Sympatholytic. So which is working against the sympathetic system. So that is sympatholytic, anti-adrenergic. So sympatholytic is anti-adrenergic. That's right. And I think almost every one of you, almost all of you answered correctly. Good. Very nice. Next one. What type of cartilage forms the epiglottis, right? Epiglottis is something which will be requiring lots of elasticity, right? Its shape, its form should not be deteriorated and it should work for the whole life. And yes, none other, but it has to be the elastic, right? Because in elastic, all those larynx, all those things which are flexible and they are changing their shape and once again coming back to that original is elastic, right? Very nice. Okay. Question number 23. This is pubic symphysis is an example of, right? Pubic symphysis is an example of. Now over here, if you see, we were discussing about their movements, right? So when we said that synarthrosis, right? So we said sin, right? So then they are not allowed to move, no movement, right? No movement. Say for example, those sutures, right? Sutures, right? They were like no movement. So that is not there. Amphiarthrosis, in which there is limited movement. Limited movement. Yes, exactly. So you are all right. Yes, that's right. It is B, right? Because diarthrosis, it is with full movements. Full movements. And this syndesmosis, what was syndesmosis? It was like when those two bones, they work together, right? Syndesmosis. So when those two bones, right, they move together, right? Say for example, radio ulna or tibia fibula, right? Radio ulna or tibia fibula. So such they are syndesmosis. So our answer over is amphiarthrosis. Diarthrosis? No. Exactly. Pubic and intervertebral disc. They both are amphiarthrosis. That's right. Very right. Okay. Moving on to this. Which of the following is false about cartilage? Right? And yes, we talked about it, right? That cartilage, they lack blood supply. That's right. Then healing power of cartilage is very poor. Yes, it is poor. Cartilages, they can calcify. Yes, they can calcify. But when damaged, pain can be moderate to intense. No, because cartilages, there is there is no nerve supply, right? So in this, there is no there are no nerves. That means even if there is any injury, there is no pain. Whatever the pain which is occurring, pain is due to inflammation, right? And due to that surrounding structures, right? When there is inflammation, when there is swelling, when there is loss of function, right? And it was giving that pain. So that's the answer. That's right. Right? No pain. Moving on to question number 25. Knee joint is which type of joint? Now see, right? This is like if you know one answer, then second one would automatically come, right? It is like free movement, so it is to be diarthrosis, right? Okay. So this is like question number 25 and this is question number 26. Yeah. Now see in this. Over here, which of the following statement is not correct, right? Not correct. So we simply take it this way that for the myelin sheath, right? For the myelin, right? There were two types of cells, right? Those glial cells, Schwann and oligodendrocytes, right? And they were for PNS and these were for CNS. Now, let's see which is not correct. Schwann cells do not produce myelin in CNS. So this is right, right? They don't produce in CNS, they produce in PNS. So this statement is right, right? Schwann cells do not produce myelin in ENS, enteric. Definitely not. Okay, so this statement is right. Oligodendrocytes produce myelin in CNS. Yes, they do produce, right? Oligodendrocytes, they produce myelin in PNS. No, this is wrong, right? And because this statement is not correct, that's why this statement is correct. Yeah, I mean, for our answer, right? You got the idea. That's right. What makes bone so strong, right? This, though you know, calcium and phosphorus, because that's how the entire mineralization occurs. Okay. All right. How about this question? Which of the following statement is incorrect? Incorrect regarding hyaline cartilage. It has a homogeneous stained matrix. It is a semi-transparent glassy appearance. It forms menisci, lateral and medial, right? There are two menisci of the knee joint and it forms cartilaginous model of the most of the long bones. What answer you gave in this? Right? What was your answer for this question? Hmm. Yeah, that's right. Calcium form, that is fine. For this question, that is regarding hyaline cartilage. That's right. That's right, Ankit. Uh, okay. C. A, B, C, all right. All those mixed answers are coming up. Just remember one thing that hyaline cartilage, right? It is making things smooth. The function of menisci, right, as we talked about, that in case of knee joint, right, the top one is femur and there is tibia fibula. When there is bending, that that femur is bound to glide further, so that those menisci, they will pull and then they'll keep it back, right? So this is how these menisci, they are sitting in between and they are taking care of. So that's the reason that over here it is because of wear and tear, and that is the fibrocartilage, right? That is the fibrocartilage menisci, right? That's right, because fibrocartilage, it forms it. Very true. Okay, you skipped this question. Okay, no problem. Which of the following is not an example of white fibrocartilage, right? See, intervertebral disc, articular cartilage of TM joint, acetabular labrum, right? Because this is like incomplete and that thing is completed with the fibrocartilage, but cartilage of pinna of the ear, because it is giving the form, it would be type of elastic cartilage, right? It is type of elastic cartilage. So that's why cartilage of pinna of the ear, that goes our answer, right? Moving on to the question number 30, right? Atlantoaxial joint, right? So this fourth axis, so it is like yet to be discovered, right? So we do have three axes, and say atlantoaxial, when we say no, right? So that is the atlantoaxial joint. So when we say no, we are using atlantoaxial joint. And by the way, right, I think Abrar, you asked this question, right? Once, that what joint is used to say yes, right? So it is like atlanto-occipital. This is called as flexion, right? Flexion of neck. So at that point, atlanto-occipital would work, right? So just for this atlanto-occipital. That's the reason I put this question, so that I get a chance to tell you about these two facts, right? So atlanto, now do remember that atlanto-occipital is to say yes, and atlanto-axial is to say no, right? So that is one axis. What kind of joint is syndesmosis, right? Now for this syndesmosis, yeah, one axis, that is the pivot type of joint. That's right, Neha. It is pivot joint, right? That works as a dens, and on that the entire system rotates, right? So there is atlas and then there is axis. All right, good. What kind of joint is syndesmosis? So over here, that's right. For the structural classification, right? For the structural classification, we said that it is divided into three parts, right? One is the fibrous, second is cartilaginous, cartilage, and third was synovial, right? And in fibrous, then there were three divisions, right? One which was suture, second one was those syndesmosis, then that is when two bones move together, and third was that gomphosis, right? That peg and socket, right? The tooth, right? So they were like sutures, then syndesmosis, desmosis, and the third was gomphosis, right? Gomphosis we understood from gums, right? Gums means we remembered it like teeth, right? So that's right. Peg and socket, right? Classically it was called as the peg and socket. Peg and socket. Syndesmosis, like I'll just write radio ulna or tibia fibula, right? Because we have already discussed. So that is like fibrous. Very good. Very good. Right? Yeah. And it is immovable. That's right. On to the 32nd question. Now this is, remember enteric system, right? We said that there is sympathetic, there is parasympathetic, but then both these system in GIT, they meet at ENS, enteric nervous system. Enteric nervous system, which is behaving like a second heart, right? I'm sorry, second brain, not heart, right? Second brain. By the way, where is this second heart, right? Don't take someone else's name, right? Second heart is within you only, that is soleus, right? It is one of the muscle, right? It is in, I know this is very heartbreaking that when it is said that second heart is one of the muscle of our lower limb, it is soleus, right? But yeah, it is truly unromantic, but that's true, right? It is soleus. Why not B in 30? Can't we move our head towards shoulder? You can, right? But when you move your head towards shoulder, when you are moving, the atlantoaxial, that is a very firm joint, right? When you are moving, actually the movement which is occurring at atlantoaxial, that is very minimal, right? So that's why classically it is like that, right? We'll be discussing when we'll be talking about, say, it in say head and neck now. So actually we'll talk about it in at length. So one, what is called as the primary movement, and then there are some minor secondary movements, because as such, to any of the joint of the body, right, even if there is minor movement, some flexibility is always there. It is always there. So this is ENS, right? Enteric nervous system. And in enteric nervous system, why it is there? Because it will take the impulse, it will from the intestine, from the GIT, and then back to back, it will give the response over there only, so that it becomes more effective. And this enteric nervous system has got more than 20 different type of nuclei, right? And over here, it is divided into three parts. One was type 1, type 2, and type 3, right? And type 1 was sensory, and type 3 was motor, and in between was interneuron, right? Just connecting both of them, interneuron. So sensory, that is where these plexuses, they come into picture. So like say myenteric plexus, or there was submucosal plexus, right? I'll write it. Submucosal plexus, right? So that's why, say, what is true about myenteric plexus, that it is part of class 1, right? This is class 1 because it is sensory. So is a part of class 1 enteric nervous system. Class 3 is motor, right? Class 3 is motor. Okay. On to the fourth one. This is so very, very easy, right? Obviously, right? You must have without. So we drew itself so many times. So there was like the outer one, which was like cytotrophoblast, you know? And then we took that blue color to draw those embryoblast, and this was blastocele, correct? This was embryoblast, and this was cytotrophoblast, and the whole thing was called as the blastocyst. That's right, blastocyst. And one more important point, and that point is that this end was called as the embryonic pole. You remember that, right? We said that this is like embryonic pole, right? So maybe this is what we remember, embryonic pole, right? Rest of the things, so we definitely remember. Okay. Again, very, very easy question, right? It is that which is the most abundant glial cells. So when we say glial cells are what? They are the supporting cells. They are like non-neural cells, right? Non-neural cells. Neural cells are those neurons. To support them, these are the non-neural cells. And what would be their function? Their function would be like they act as insulator, right? So it is like for insulation. They give some support also. They give support, that is physical support, nutritive support, right? All of them. And the most common is, you must have answered, you must have astrocytes. That's right, right? You have answered. So they are astrocytes. That's right. Very true. They were acting as like potassium buffer. Then, yeah. And then they were removing that excess neurotransmitter, right? So that was the astrocyte. Just as we are talking about, what was the other type, which was the smallest, which was like that Pac-Man, right? That gobbler, right? Right? Which was like that Pac-Man. It was microglia, correct? Microglia. And they were having that phagocytic action. Correct? Phagocytic action or phagocytic function, whatever we write. Right? And obviously this third and fourth, we wrote it like this, right? You remember we wrote it like this. And this was Schwann and this was oligodendrocytes. Right? Oligodendrocytes. That's what we talked in detail about both of them, right? This will release myelin for PNS and oligodendrocyte will do it for CNS. Okay, that's right, microglia. Question number 35. At the time of blastocyst formation, right, inner cell mass of the morula is now called as, yes, his future is bright, right? So it is embryoblast, correct? So that was pretty easy, embryoblast. This though, you know it all well, right? That's right. This is sensational, right? Trophoblast, and that's why sensatio trophoblast. Trophoblast. Right. And then this is like embryoblast. This is like, now it would be like cytotrophoblast, right? One single nucleated and the multi-nucleated. And this is the uterine wall in which the embedding has started, right? And then over here, this is like decidua, right? Then this will be called as the decidua basalis, right? So that's good. On to the 37th question. Yes. Which of the following statement is correct? Cell bodies are gray in color and non-myelinated. Axons are gray in color and non-myelinated. They are white in color and myelinated. And cell bodies are white in color and unmyelinated. All mix-ups, all khichdi, right? How to do this? How to figure it out? That what's the correct answer, right? What do you think, guys? What's the answer for this question? Question number 37. What have you answered? C. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. A. All right. See, to remember this, right, in brain, right, whether it is coincidence or it is thanks to God, right, but the cell bodies, right, cell bodies, yeah, most of you have A and C. Okay. So cell bodies, right, and say they are gray in color, right, and there is in the outer and the it is in the cortex, right? So C, right, G, everything is curved. Everything is curved. Similarly, over here for the axon, they are white in color. They are exactly, right, myelinated. So again, all straight lines, and that is inner. This is what really happens in case of brain, right? Yeah. Cell bodies will be always gray because cell bodies, right, they will be gray and they are like due to lack of myelin, right? So Cell bodies, they are gray in color and they are non-myelinated. Okay. And axons are gray in color. No, axons, they are like because of myelin, right? So this and are non-myelinated. So this is out of question, right? Axons are white in color and are myelinated. All right. And cell bodies are white in no, right? So this is where, right, it was the statement or statements, right? So we have got A and C, right? Both of them. That's right. Question number 38. Which of the following statement is true? Right? Now, as we said that this is with reference to brain. So anything which is coming, it is afferent, right? It is afferent. And anything which is going out of it, it is efferent. So brain would be receiving the sensory signals, and in response to those sensory signals, it will respond in the form of motor. Correct? So afferent pathways are motor? No. Afferent pathways are sensory. So afferent pathways are not sensory. So even that is incorrect. Efferent pathways are not motor? No. Efferent, so they are motor. So this is wrong. Efferent pathways are motor. This is right. Right. So that's why that is correct. D. Yeah, 30. This is easy. All right. Identify the most appropriate pair, right? Most correct pair. This is cholinergic, right? Acetylcholine. So when acetylcholine comes, it means we are dealing with parasympathetic. And over here it is cholinergic. That means parasympathomimetic, right? Parasympathomimetic. So it has to be B, right? Why D? Okay, you are answering for that previous one. Okay, right. So this is parasympathomimetic, right? So that is B, correct. And finally, the last question. During the third week of human development, the cephalic or the head end, right? The head end part of the primitive streak is called what, right? So this was like our cytotrophoblast, and then there was extra embryonic mesoderm, and on top of it there was like epiblast. In that epiblast, from the tail side, that groove appeared when we watched it from the top, right? And on the head side there was a formation of a node, correct? In that node there was a small pit, but it is this node which is representing the cephalic or the cranial end. So this is the cephalic or the cranial end. So in such case, our answer will go like primitive node. That is the primitive node. This one would be primitive pit, and over here this would be primitive groove, and combination of node, pit and groove collectively is what is called as the primitive streak, right? Primitive streak. So that's how our answer goes for primitive node, right? Primitive pit, if you say, it is not wrong, but pit appears after first the node appears, primitive node appears, and that defines that, okay, this is the head end, and the groove which started, that is the tail end, right? So that's how it is done. So I think all of you must have, say, enjoyed this test. See, it is like very good on your part, because I really like that when you say honestly that yes, I made this mistake and that mistake, अरे ऐसा हो गया वैसा हो गया, but when you write that ना, that मजा आया, right? When you enjoy it, that's what I like the best, right? So trust me, next Saturday, right, we'll keep because see it is 9 o'clock. So I think next Saturday we'll keep the exam of 50 questions, right? And if you say, then we can cut down the time by just 30 seconds. We can make it 30 seconds. Within 30 seconds, you have to answer. Or let's keep 45 initially. And then just within 2 or 3 exams, we'll make it 30 seconds. So then it would be really like a rapid fire, right? So gradually you'll be more and more faster in giving reply, and you'll be able to score very effectively more and more, right? Thank you so much, and it was great. Yeah, same way, even I also enjoyed it. Thank you so much. And we meet on Monday. Two clarifications, right? Still I'm getting the mails that we are not getting the links. Friends, you will not be sent link on your email address individually, right? It would be like over here only. Say today I'll be creating the link for the entire second week, right? That is first thing. And that shared folder in which there is a folder called week 1. Now I'll be creating in that only a new folder week 2, and that's where all those new PDFs will be lying, right? So that way we'll keep on continuing. Okay, thank you so much, and we meet on Monday 7:30. Enjoy the Sunday and take care. See you and bye bye. You all are good.